Hi guys, my name is Masha. Maybe everyone's had one of those love stories that goes, I fell in love with a guy who lived in another city, or I dated a guy and a year later he came out as gay. At first sight, my story might seem a bit cliche, but don't jump to conclusions yet. I was 15 years old at the time and all my peers seemed frivolous to me. And so I only dated guys who were 3 or 4 years older. It happened that I fell in love with a man who was 40. And just to remind you, I was only 15. Well, it wasn't quite love what we had. Let's just say he took good care of me. I used to hang out with my girls at one of the clubs on weekends regularly. Of course, the younger guys wanted to get with us, but they were the same age. Naturally, we didn't take them seriously. But then one night, an older guy came up to us and offered some cocktails, and we accepted. He was handsome, neat, quite evidently wealthy. I was simply under hypnosis. Honestly speaking, I had dated a lot of older guys, but I had never felt the way I felt that night. We were very tired, and I told him that we would like to go home. Of course, I knew that he would offer to give us a lift, and that's exactly what happened. When we approached his car, I was shocked at how expensive it was. I was curious to find out what his job was and how he made so much money. After getting into the car, we began to think whom he would take home first. My friend Anya lived closer to the club, so it was her we decided to drop off, and then me. We drove Anya home and continued our journey. Only God knows how good I felt. I had a sensation that we've known each other forever. I didn't even feel embarrassed that he was older. After the ride home that night, we started dating. I liked him a lot, and the way he put it, he liked me too. I didn't tell my parents about Igor. Oh, his name was Igor, by the way. I didn't tell my parents about Igor because I knew they would take the news badly, and it wasn't what I wanted. So I kept quiet about it. I asked him not to meet me after school, which could have turned out to be very suspicious. You probably know how it goes. Basically, we were hiding our relationship as best as we could. Everything was perfect during the first month. We enjoyed long car rides, visited expensive restaurants. He bought me a lot of clothes and jewelry. Actually, Igor did everything for me. After 6 months, I noticed that everything in our relationship has changed. We started meeting once a week. He wouldn't pick up the phone when I called him and wouldn't even call me back. I had a feeling that this love story has come to an end. Well, the love story ended, but another story had just begun. I started feeling sick every day. I couldn't go anywhere and I had to stay home because I felt bad. My parents decided that I had to go to the doctor because maybe it was some kind of infection. But no, I was pregnant. At that moment, I didn't know what to think. My parents didn't understand what was going on and were as shocked as I was. They immediately began to interrogate me and ask me questions. Who was it? I answered that I didn't know. I understood that if I confessed the truth to my parents about Igor, they would immediately put him in prison. I decided that I would speak to Igor about the situation first. This time, we didn't meet at the restaurant as usual, but inside his car. I looked into his eyes, but didn't see any of the things I had felt before. Having pulled myself together, I told him everything. The answer I heard completely killed me. How much money do you want to cut off all communication? Igor asked. And my only response to him was, why have you started treating me like this? He told me that he had a family, a wife, and 2 daughters. I was no longer listening. Tears streaming down my face, I got off his car and simply ran. Shortly afterwards, I had an abortion and I didn't see Igor anymore. I'm 25 years old now. I have a happy family and a loving husband. What I want to say is that you should be very careful in every relationship. One day, you will find the most loving person and be completely happy. Let your mistakes remain where you've made them forever. That is where they belong.